So my lights suck. I got a 2019 Ford F350 Lariat FX4 dually, Power Stroke, the whole 9 yards. Now this is a 5-year-old truck, so I don't know what the new trucks have, but this truck, despite what it cost me in 2019, which I don't know what it would cost you today, $100,000, it's got the worst headlights probably of any modern vehicle I've seen. So I love my Ford truck, I really do. But honestly, folks, these headlights suck. And I'm getting old. Maybe that's part of it. But when I'm driving at night, I can't see. These are like old CO beams that we used to have in the 70s. They're terrible. So I don't know what Ford is doing, but you know, I gotta do something with these lights, especially as I've gotten older. It's getting harder to see at night when I'm driving. And the worst thing is when you're out running your sawmill and you've been running all day long and you get everything all packed up and it's getting dark and you start to leave and you're 3 miles down some old forest road at some place you've never been to before. You can't see getting out of there. And it's even worse when you've got a camper and it just, lighting is terrible. So I've been thinking about doing something with my lights. And frankly, I wasn't really sure where to go to get them. I thought, well, I could talk to Ford about getting some LEDs. And I thought, well, I could go on Amazon or somewhere like that. But frankly, I didn't even know how to change them on these things. You know, I was a mechanic, not even in a past life, but when I was a lot younger, I've done all kinds of things. Rebuilt cars, built race cars, you name it. And all those older cars, heck of a lot easier to work on. You don't have to worry about computers and all the nonsense they have that makes it really hard to get to the lights. Well, fast forward to I don't know, a month or so ago, 2-3 weeks ago. And as many of you know, I like to off-road and I've got a Jeep. So does my wife. And I was trying to solve something for my wife's Jeep. We wanted more lights on it, but the big light bar that we had, that we actually won in one of our club's rallies, we just didn't want to mount that above her windshield on her Jeep because she didn't have a rack or anything to mount it to. So we were kind of contemplating, what could we do? And I thought, you know, I should just get a big set of LEDs that I could put right on the front of her Jeep. So I reached out to a friend of mine that owns and runs High5 Motorsports here in Richland, Washington. And I talked to him about getting lights for her Jeep, and I decided to get some for mine. And make a long story short, I was talking to Dustin, and I said, hey, any chance you got a line on LEDs for like my Ford F350? And he kind of laughed and said, yeah, absolutely we can do that. So I thought, what the hell, let's order some lights. So Dustin went ahead, ordered some lights for me, and then, well, you guys all know I got a hand that doesn't work, and he said, you know what, Eric, why don't you bring your truck down to the shop and we'll get them put in for you. So here I am at High5 Motorsports in Richland, Washington, and Dustin's gonna go ahead and make it so I can actually see at night when driving my truck. So without further ado, let's get going.
Shitty lighting, 101. Factory lighting on any vehicle is bad. We'll break it up with that, all right? So I got Eric's 2019 pickup in here, and he's got terrible lighting. What we're gonna do is we're gonna change these out. So when he's going down to his sawmill and going to his cabin, I don't have to hear the complaining about how bad his how bad his lights are in doing so. So hang tight, sit there, let's get this taken care of.
Hey, my eyes still work. Maybe not, I'm getting old.
We're gonna come over here to this little poppet. Get yourself a poppet tool, and we're just gonna take that out. We're gonna go ahead and pop these clips out, and we're gonna remove the air intake horn. Come in here real quick. We're gonna go ahead and show you that.
It just easily pops out.
Easily pop out. Okay, and then we have our factory halogen H13s. And then remove the other H13 halogen.
You know, I remember when halogens were the new thing. You know, I grew up with my dad telling me about quartz iodine lights, QIs he used to always call them. And that was like the big thing for ralliers back in like the 60s. And then in the 70s and 80s, it was halogen lights and everybody was switching to halogens. And so here I am today in 2024 saying that the halogens suck. And honestly, that's kind of weird because I do remember the seal beam days and these seemed like seal beams to me, but I think it's because my Jeep has LEDs and I'm so used to the brightness of those LEDs. So we're gonna fix that today.
Oxbeam Q Series H13s.
It's too bad it's so narrow that we can't put a camera right down into that.
Right. Now you're gonna move around wiring harnesses and you're gonna play pin the tail. Now we're on the driver's side. Now, this particular vehicle has some pretty cool setups on it. One thing I want to talk about is it has an EMP shield. This is a really cool device to put on to protect your electronic system in case of a nearby lightning strike, not direct, mind you, but a nearby lightning strike, as well as an electric magnetic pulse. Alrighty, so now that we have the battery removed, as much of a pain as that can be, makes it a lot easier. We have full access down to get into here to get these lights out.
Modern vehicles, they don't make it easy.
No, they don't.
Oh, I don't know about you guys, but honestly, I get tired of all the rocks and mud that I get in my truck. So I got offered a set of these from Lasfit. I said, okay, if you think these can keep the rocks out of my truck and keep the dirt out and keep the floorboards of my F350 from getting, you know, pretty muddy and rocky and everything else, and if these will do the job, well then okay, send them to me and we will find out. Now I'm guessing a name like Lasfit is because these are laser measured things. I'll tell you what though, that's a pretty thick rubber. That's thick rubber. That feels pretty good, folks. I'm kind of impressed with that. Let's have a look at this one. So you got passenger and driver's side, one for the rear, which is where most of my problem is. You ever set a chainsaw in the back of your truck? Yeah, it just creates a mess like you wouldn't believe. These mats, cool and all because they're Marine Corps ones, do not fit here very well. And then as you can see, we've got enough dirt and crap on here that these need to be vacuumed out. So I'm gonna leave this mat in here. It says to remove those, but I don't wanna remove that right now. I just wanna see how these fit. So let's go grab the passenger side and see if it fits. Well, that actually fits pretty well, folks. I would say it's not perfect. That actually, well, actually, I guess it could be perfect. Look at that, actually seems to fit pretty well right here. It does kind of mold right into here. These always start to come off. So I like the Marine Corps ones, but they always start to come off like that. So, yeah, I know you're supposed to vacuum this out, but I think what I'm gonna do, well, I'm just gonna leave that and I'm gonna put the other one in right there. All right, I'm just gonna throw this in here. Look at that. Well, that was easy. Seriously, if you're like me, your truck's a truck because it needs to do some work. That's why you have a truck, and it gets dirty. And there we go, folks. Wow, very nice. It's a bit sunny, so I'll try it from the other angle. It fits pretty good, and as it heats up a little bit inside the truck, it'll lay down flat. But now I've got a much better space. I don't have to worry about my chainsaw leaking on my carpet, all the dirt and mud that gets in here. So I don't know, folks, Lasfit, I'll drop a link down below, but I'm actually impressed with the way those fit. And I know that given a little time to warm up and mold in a little bit better, they're gonna be perfect. So thank you, Lasfit, for sending those mats to me. They fit pretty good, and I think they're actually going to keep a lot of mud and rocks out of my carpets in my F350. They seem to be made from a pretty thick rubber material, so I don't think these are going to wear out anytime soon. Looks to me like they're going to last a long time. So very cool. Appreciate that, folks. Thank you very much for that.
There we go. And now we're all installed. So we've just completed the upgrade to Eric's F350 headlights. We switched out the halogen H13s to the Q40 series aux beam H13s. Now, you're gonna see a side-by-side comparison of what it was to what it is now. And here's a live shot. You have a very bright 6500K white light, and with the high beams, no aiming was changed. We didn't need to use any CAN bus. We didn't need to change the BCM in any way. This was a simple plug and play operation. And most importantly, for you old Marines, you can finally see, and you can't complain about that.
Wow. I want to thank Dustin over at High5 Motorsports for putting those lights in for me. Holy cow, they made an insane difference, folks. Those aux beams are super bright. I'll leave a link down below to the ones that I got, and wow, those are so amazing. So thanks again, Dustin. I really appreciate it. This old Jarhead can see at night again. Awesome. Thanks for watching, folks. The old Jarhead out.